this is gonna work out for us. And the best part is that no one gets hurt.
We need to find somewhere to lay low. Somewhere off the grid.
Let's go. I don't want to get mixed up in whatever state we're in, Chainsaw Massacre.
What the hell?
Nobody wander off alone.
Xenia!
They're coming for us. Y'all want to get out of here?
Six criminals on the run.
What are you?
Looks like you found yourself caught smack dab right in the middle of an old-fashioned feud.
Trapped between the creatures that roam the night and the monsters that rule the day.
Where are you gonna go? Where?
You ripped them limb from limb!
A hard place.
What is going on, all my horror movie maniacs, baby? It's your boy Preston, Phat Samurai Guy, hanging out with me. That's right, your boy in the movie dojo. We got the legend himself, writer, producer, director, Jay Horton. How you doing, brother?
I am doing very good. Very good.
And I got, right off the bat, the shirt. What's going on with the shirt there?
So, a friend of mine, Bob Rose, he designs these kind of jokey shirts. So this is a Photoshop one, RoboCop. It says I'm not very good at it. On the bottom here, Photoshop.
Oh, I love it.
Not very good at it, with the bad hat. Yeah. I thought it was really funny, so I wanted to support other indie artists. So I was like, I'll buy that.
Hell yeah. That's a hilarious shirt. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Yeah.
And probably one of our favorite movies as well. We know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You've seen the director's cut with the extended all the slushy blood. And,
it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Really cool.
I can never go back to the theatrical.
Yeah, totally. I would even say that the theatrical is it's almost a little bit harder edged because of the cuts. The gore plays a little more comically in the.
That's true.
Upgraded,
that is true. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
It's definitely cool though. Yeah.
Both cuts are A pluses.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just excellent. Verhoeven's so good.
Oh, I know, right? The best blood squibs in movie history, maybe.
So very cool. Yeah.
Oh, but speaking of blood, we're going to be getting to that in a little bit with A Hard Place, baby. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that. But before we get into that, brother, how did you get the call from the horror movie gods to get into the industry?
Yeah. So I was always a movie guy. I'm a smaller individual. I was never great at sports. I watched movies all the time, and horror movies were just I liked all kinds, but I really had an affinity for horror movies. I remember watching Evil Dead on VHS and wearing that out, and then Poltergeist later on. And then when I saw The Thing, oh man, really, really just flipped my switch, and then, right after, as I was graduating high school, Reservoir Dogs comes out. And I'm hearing Tarantino talk about filmmaking and French New Wave and independent cinema. And all of a sudden it kind of clicked for me, what a director was. He started talking about, The Thing and Big Trouble in Little China and Assault on Precinct 13 and and I knew John Carpenter was the guy that made these movies, but he starts talking about what was special about Carpenter. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh shoot, this is what directing is. So that's where I got the bug. And then when I went to college, that's when I first kind of realized that you could make a living. You could do workman jobs making movies and, not necessarily be Steven Spielberg,
Right.
So I got my start there.
Yeah, copy that. And you've done like a little bit of every type of genre I see in your filmography, as well as documentaries and
Totally.
dramas and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah. I started. My first thing was a horror movie. My first two, and then I started. I'd made them both. Pretty much self-produced, or some friends, and I caught the eye of some producers in New Orleans that were shooting these African American Christian movies, and they were looking for somebody that could do them quick and cheap, and so I started making movies for them, and then started doing family comedies, and then I just started getting hired to direct and edit like all of these different, kind of lower budget, under $100,000 movies.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I wanted to get back and, self-produce,
Yeah, copy that. Yeah, a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
as many filmmakers I've interviewed so far, they've they have a favorite genre, right? But they've noticed that they've actually improved as a director by thinking outside the box a little bit and dipping their toe in other genres, comedies, dramas, and all that. And then when they come back to their favorite genre, they're like, "Hey, I'm thinking about this a little bit differently now." So,
yeah, totally. And as a filmmaker, I don't want to sound like hoity-toity or nothing, but like I don't think a lot about genre like when I'm writing or creating. So Hard Place is a horror movie, but it has some really strong comedic elements. It has some really strong romance elements. It's got some action. It's like it's horror. I mean, yes, it's a horror movie, but I don't I tend to not think in those terms as I'm creating it.
Yeah, copy that. Yeah. But you're on a roll with the horror, and this channel's all about supporting horror. And I wore the perfect shirt today because your boy here is a big fan of when horror titans, smash and bash, monster mash. I love all that kind of stuff. We got Frankenstein versus the Wolfman, all kinds of stuff. And I was just like, Hard Place is like right up my alley because I'm like, oh shit, we got Creatures of the Night versus Creatures of the Day going at it.
Yeah.
What's going on around here? Talk about the roadshow experience.
So, I've done so many lower budget movies, and when you're doing low budget movies, 99% of the time you get like maybe a premiere in a theater, that you rent or something, and then you're, back in the day you're on DVD, these days you're on streaming, and that's pretty much it. So and if you're not doing film festivals, you don't really get a chance to like set with an audience, and so I did Craving, 2 or 3 years ago, and we had a really like explosive premiere, and like the experience was just like, damn. And then I was like, man, I wish I would have done festivals. I wish I would have put this in theaters. So when I finished Hard Place, I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know what, like, this isn't just a streaming movie. This is something that'll play really well in front of an audience, and I want that experience. So I ran into this other filmmaker, Peter Higuchi, who was kind of doing a roadshow thing with his movie The Occult, and he helped me book some theaters, and then we kind of joined forces and did a double feature in drive-ins like all across the country. That's what we've been doing the last couple of months. And like that's been awesome. So like, I traveled to Georgia and Florida, and they were playing in Idaho a couple of weeks ago. Like it's really cool.
That's awesome, man.
We outperformed Thunderbolts a couple of weeks ago at the drive-in we was at.
A win for horror, baby. Let's go.
Right. Where was my variety tagline?
I know, right? Shit. Oh man! Oh, at the drive-in, how cool! How cool is that?
And dude, I hadn't been to a drive-in in so many years, but it was a big part of my childhood. So getting to see my own movie, just like the very first one we did was Georgia, and it was like, I don't know, 50 or 60 cars. It wasn't like a huge crowd, but it was big enough. And people are out there, like grilling and like getting the stuff and sitting in the back of their trucks.
That's how you do it.
You're watching the movie and you're listening to it on your car speakers. It was a different experience. It was cool.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I still kind of prefer the hardtop theater because when you're in there, you can feel the audience reactions. You can hear them laugh. You can feel them gasp. Like when you're in a drive-in, it's kind of isolated. Because like everybody's in their own little pocket, so it's hard to tell how it's playing. But it's still cool. It's still cool.
Yeah, I mean that's childhood dream right there for you, man. Getting it played at the drive-in. How cool is that?
Yeah, my little tiny, monster versus monster horror movie, driving screens across the country. I never would have even 10 years ago when I was making other movies and making decent money. I never would have thought I would be playing like theatrical and stuff like that. It's neat. And it's opened up in a way now for independent filmmakers where if you get out there and really hustle it, like you can make those things happen.
That's
the
right.
success of it depends on the movie and how well you market, but you can do it. The opportunities are there if the movie's right and you got the right personality behind it to push it,
Yeah, copy that. Yeah, well said, well said. But yeah, congrats on the little tour there. Roger Corman style. Let's go. Oh, man. But speaking of creature features, I got to ask you, what was some of your favorite creature features besides The Thing growing up?
Yeah, The Thing's number one. But I loved Extra back in the day. Pumpkinhead. The pumpkin. I've been working with the same effects guy for a long time, and almost every single movie when we start talking about monsters are like, okay, we want this one to kind of look like Pumpkinhead. We haven't really done it yet because we always end up going a different direction. But I love that design, that the long lanky arms. Where we're actually in the movie we're getting ready to do, we're doing a little something like that.
Oh hell yeah! Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, I love that, and Alien, the Geiger design is really cool. I like a lot of like Lovecraft stuff.
Yeah,
I like deformities and like abstractions and like asymmetry. We did a little bit of that in Craving. Our monster in Craving kind of had like an odd shaped head and
nice.
We did a devil in the Campus that had it had a face in the back of its head and then like a front face. And,
oh hell yeah, that's what it's all about. Being creative with the features, baby. But it's funny you mentioned The Thing because that's my number one. I mean, it's just so good.
Can't beat it.
It's so good. But I'm a huge diehard Predator fan. I got the poster back here. Got the Alien shelf. Thoughts on Alien Romulus? What did you think of Alien Romulus and Prey, the last Predator movie? What do you think of those two movies?
So I liked them. I don't, they're not Predator or Alien, but I liked them. I thought they were good, like updates. I think I prefer Prey a little bit to Romulus, but I did like Romulus. My only nitpick on Romulus, I am not an anti CG guy or anything like that, but I find the pulling back dead actors a little distasteful myself. Yeah. So I didn't really like that. I don't, I wouldn't go out vocally against it or nothing.
Right.
It didn't.
It was a bad choice.
I wasn't like, how dare you? But it did. I was like,
It's like they tried something, but it didn't really work out. In the end, I think they could have did something better. Well, we just watched Alien 3 and the Lance Henriksen, bishops, just the head talking. That was so just good. Practical effects, good. Baby.
Yeah,
still is way works. More effective.
Works like gangbusters, dude. Like gangbusters.
Yeah. Copy that. But now let's get to A Hard Place. And again, this kind of movie's right up my alley. You got the thieves on the run. They think they're at a safe place, but they're at a hard place, and it's going to get harder as long as the night goes on, the day goes on. So, how did you come up with the concept for Hard Place?
So, I've always had an affinity for crime movies set inside a horror movie. Nice. From Dusk Till Dawn, for example. But it's just always, I've said this a few times, but it's always fun to see hardened criminals that live outside the law that get into situations where you can't depend on the law or society. You know what I mean? They're on their own, and it's also fun to see like tough guys going up against something that they're not so tough anymore. You know what I mean? I like that kind of like they have some skill, like fighting or shooting or whatever it is, but it ain't gonna help so much against the monster. I like that, like Aliens has that really, that's a really strong theme in Aliens. So Predator too. Yeah, Predator too. Yeah. So then and I was always a big werewolf and vampire fan, so I came up with the idea idea of this like years ago, like in college. And I was like, oh, this is freaking brilliant. Nobody's ever done an action movie with vampires and werewolves. Very next year, Underworld comes out.
Right.
And so I just kind of like shelved it for a while. And then a couple of years ago, I'm like, you know what? I really like that. Maybe if I just like create new monsters, you know, they're not necessarily vampires and werewolves. And, you know, I came up with these, you know, plant creatures and these reptile creatures. They're kind of the Garden of Eden monsters. Yeah. And, you know, one of them is nocturnal and the other is like daytime. And the only time they can really like fight is like during an eclipse. And the climax of the movie takes place in an eclipse. Right. So I thought I'd never quite seen anything like that. And I thought it was clever. So I was like, I'll go that way.
Yeah, I really enjoy the designs of both the reptilian type designs and the tree creature looking type designs are really cool looking. I mean, how long did it take for the practical makeup for the actors?
On set, it was actually pretty quick. So like Robert Bravo is my effects guy. I've worked with him for years. So we spend, you know, weeks to months designing the things. But when he gets on set, like those suits, I think he was getting them in and out of the plant suits in 15, 20 minutes. And then, you know, maybe another 10 minutes if they had some facial makeup to do. And the reptiles probably about the same, maybe a little longer. You know, but
it's pretty impressive.
We spent a while designing them, and you know, I don't know. He might get mad at me for saying, but the plant creatures had a completely different head design. Well, a more complicated one that pieces of it were lost in transit. So he had to basically, like on the fly, make all those heads work. You know,
wow. Amazing.
That's just how talented the guy is. Like even when something goes wrong, he's still gonna fix it and give you something that works. You know.
Copy that. Well, shout out to that man right there. Yeah, great job, brother. He's awesome. Yeah, copy that. But man, let's talk about the cast here. And I mean, you have some bangers in this one. Felicia Rose, who's amazing. She steals all the scenes. Every scene she's in this movie, she steals. She's great.
She does.
Bai Ling is great. You know what's funny? The whole movie within a movie thing with Bai Ling idea. I actually wanted to see more. The movie.
The funny thing, that is a feature script of mine. Like I have a script, I think it was called Chop House. Okay. And that was the opening scene. And then there's a couple other little scenes later that were just from that. And the idea was like, maybe I would go back and do that. But to tell you the truth, I've cannibalized so much of that script for other things now. I'm kind of like, probably not. But it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. Looked like she was having fun. You had Glenn. Dude, Glenn was good in it. And that scene
I love Glenn. I think it's my like third time working with Glenn. He's awesome. It was my first time working with Bai Ling. And what struck me about her is like, dude, she's so like committed. Like she leading up to the shoot, and she read the whole script. She knew what it was. Just, you know, the movie within a movie. It's not a huge part of it, but she took it super seriously. Like she had notes on her character. Like we workshopped it. Like she was taking it like as if she was like, you know, it was like a lead role. Didn't matter. Like she was going to do her best, and she really did. She was great. And then my second time working with Felissa, and dude, she's got to be the nicest person I've ever met in my life. Like she has, when she comes onto a set, the energy on the set just goes up like 40%, just like bam. Yeah. And then to give her a role like this one, which is a little bit against type for her, you know, like give her something different, you know, and like something a little more meaty than what she's been getting the last few years. It's like, it was really cool.
She killed it.
I really like doing it. Yeah, she killed it.
Yeah, she absolutely killed it. Definitely got a little bit of Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes, a little bit. So was there some homages there a little bit?
Yeah. And so, like I said, I wrote the original draft of the script many years ago, and then I kind of dusted it off when I decided to make it about a year and a half ago. And I went to my friend Michael J. Epstein to do a pass on it before I would do a final one. And I like that dinner table scene was not in there. That was him. Okay. And it's like pretty much a direct, you know, Texas Chainsaw homage, you know, and I even told the DP, I kept showing him shots from Texas Chainsaw 2, you know, and we even tried to emulate some of the light design and stuff like that.
Yeah, copy that. Well, it worked, though, actually, because you're thinking Texas Chainsaw, but then you're not expecting what's going to happen later from those same group of crazy people. You did not expect, It's turned into this now. Oh shit. We got a monster mash bash going on. We got a Royal Rumble. There we go. Ring the bell. Ding ding. And hit, strip, and rip and tear, blood, gore, all that good stuff that I love over here. And yeah, man, really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Sequel?
You never know. It really, in indie film, I always tell people it's usually probably unlikely. Like that. It has to do really, really well to warrant that. And with movies, you got to plan them, almost a year in advance. So like, I'm already working on, something else, and that's going to take a year, and then we'll see how this does. I mean, I have ideas for stuff. There's definitely a universe there, but it's one of those things where there's parts of it I would like to revisit, stuff that happened before and stuff that came after. But for right now, it's a standalone.
Well, I'm all down for the J. Horton universe. Let's go. JHU.
Yeah, well, when I did these 3 movies that I'm in the midst of, so I got taken a break from narratives for a while doing docs, and I was like, I'm going to do a trilogy of monster movies, not like, part 1, part 2, and part 3, but like spiritual sequels. And each one gets a little bit bigger. So, like Craving was kind of a one location, one monster shoot. And then Hard Place was like this more epic, like monster versus monster. And now we're doing Apex Predators Club. And it's like 8 different kinds of monsters. And, it's people that are paying to hunt monsters. It's like, it's wild.
I'm sold. Yeah. Is that the next one coming up, or that's?
Yeah, that's the next one. I'm working on that with the Mahal Empire.
Copy that. Well, Jay will be back. You're going to come back here, brother. We're going to talk about that one for sure, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'll love it.
Yeah. But yeah, Hard Place definitely had that hit, strip, and rip, blood and gore, satisfaction. Definitely, if you guys, everybody's watching this right now, if you are into that kind of stuff, if that scratches the horror itch for you, baby, definitely go check it out. Jay, when and where could everybody watch the film?
So the movie drops next Tuesday, May 27th on Apple TV and Amazon. The following month, it'll be on Tubi and some of the AVOD platforms. And then we'll have DVD and Blu-ray, I believe, in July.
Nice. There you go, guys. I'll put a link in the description box below so where you guys can click on it to get more information for the movie. Jay, I know you're a busy man, brother. I could talk to you about horror movies all day, but this guy's got filmmaking to do. That's right. But you're always welcome back here. This is now your second home, brother. And awesome. We'll see you on the next one. Don't forget, guys, A Hard Place, Monster Mash Bashing. Let's go. See you guys on the next one. Take care.